Greetings and salutations to our fine podcast audience. Welcome to 3 Peas in a Pod, episode 253.
We made it. It didn't sound like you were going to say 3.
Well, yeah.
I said it.
I'll say we made it. Jason had a stroke right at the end.
I thought he was about to say another letter at 253.
There's always that piece of me that second guesses myself, and I have to look down at the paper to make sure, because even if I know it, I don't know it.
Okay.
I'm not sure I'm confident in myself to say the number
little
right.
screen over there where we have time also says a different number.
It's a leftover thing, so we're not going to worry about it.
All right.
But so here we are, episode 253.
Yep.
I know it. And we got a very obscure, interesting question. Somebody asked it. I bet most people didn't even know this existed, but we're going to answer it anyway.
It's either somebody in Bible College Seminary or somebody who watched a video. And
or there's some podcast they listened to that brought this up. But
so here's the clickbait. We're going to talk about Q.
Ooh!
Some of y'all been waiting. Some of y'all been waiting a long time.
Just the letter Q. This brought to you by the letter Q.
Sesame Street.
This is actually going to bring people back to the church. Some people come. I've been waiting until they wisened up.
Talking about Q, but not the Q you heard about on the internet.
R.
Yes. We'll get the rest of the alphabet eventually. Okay. So I'll just read the question and then we'll explain what we mean by the letter Q. Here we go. In addition to the 4 Gospels...
Would it bother anybody if I walked out on this episode?
Ed feels strongly about
No, I don't.
Or he doesn't.
I don't. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. You've never walked out except for that one time you needed to, take care of something. Remember that time you walked out on an episode?
No.
You don't remember that?
We did have you leave one time. I think someone showed up about one of the air conditioners or something.
You had to leave right in the middle of filming.
I do not remember that.
Of course you don't.
As episode...
No. You don't know. I do remember it happening.
I do remember.
All right, so here we go. Don't walk out, Ed. In addition to the 4 Gospels, an author of the book I was reading mentioned a source that scholars call Q, but he didn't elaborate much on what it was. Can you please explain what Q is?
Well, we're going to tell you why he did not elaborate on it very much.
He said everything he knew.
Because he doesn't know either.
I'm not joking.
Yes.
I think I'm trying to think of what the college course was, but when I went back to Bible college, I had a course, and it was not even a footnote. It was like a part of an outline in one of his lectures. And almost what you wrote is what they said is, there's some other source that people think might exist called Q.
We're not even sure.
Yeah, some people think might have existed. And then I think I went and looked it up like on Wikipedia or something. So I don't even know my information's that accurate. But Jason, what is it that people speculate?
Okay.
At this point, Charlie should put up the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, that might honestly be just as helpful as anything else.
And everything I'm about to tell you came from maybe, like you said, about 10 minutes in one class in New Testament that I was in. Dr. Barry Blackburn, excellent New Testament scholar that I studied.
Has he retired?
Yes, he has.
Okay.
I think he still does a little. I follow him on Facebook. Great follow. Anyway, good, but I love him. Anyway, Dr. Blackburn would have said basically that Q is a theory, and let's be clear, it is a theory, a theoretical source that some people theorized especially the 3 gospel writers, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, may have borrowed from when they wrote their account of the life of Jesus because of the similarities that exist within those 3 gospels. A lot of people speculate that maybe there was an original account written by one of the disciples of the life of Jesus. They took some of those stories, made them their own, and then added to what their experience was. And so because of this, they call it Q because they just don't know. And it's this theory of a source that was there before the Gospels. Again, theory, which means nobody knows.
No.
It's just what scholars use to kind of talk about it and put some handles around it.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
that pretty much is the answer to your question.
Yeah.
So we'll see y'all next week.
But this brings up issues that I think Nathan mentioned that we might want to get into that might be helpful to somebody and, make this more than a 4.5-minute podcast.
Okay.
Well, I think it goes to maybe even our desire, your desire in sending the question in is, I think maybe it's this thing within us that kind of feels, because there are mystical components to Christianity. What I mean by mysticism is
Mm-hmm.
the idea that there is a spiritual reality that exists beyond me, and I am interacting with that spiritual reality I can't see. So God, the Spirit, interacts with me through my physical, emotional, material existence, right? And so there's this kind of feeling, I think, and I don't know if it's always existed. I guess so, because now that I was about to say, we know that one of the earliest heresies in the church is this idea of there's this secret knowledge exists, is what's often gets called as Gnosticism. But this idea that there's this secret knowledge that I can learn that other people may not know.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can get to that secret knowledge, it will
unlock the key to everything.
Yeah, there's like this, now and I hear a lot of scientists even theorizing of this like unifying theory for everything.
Yeah.
There's going to be this one theory that connects every dot that has every question we've ever had. It's going to unlock it. And in particular, getting back to ours about Christianity, that maybe if I study the scriptures deep enough, I'm going to find one verse that no one else has ever noticed before. Mm-hmm. Or, if
I study the Bible 10 minutes a day.
Yeah. I'm going to figure it out.
And they're guys that are devoted, they missed it.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for 1,600 years.
But I do study 10 minutes a day.
I did find it. And so this idea that if I find this thing, right, or if I know, and in terms of this question, the idea that, so there might be a fifth gospel that no one's ever told me about. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying this is fully your thought, but I think maybe it's just plain curiosity. What did that mean? I didn't know.
Yeah.
But
I can get where if you're reading a book and somebody mentions something and you go,
what's that about?
What's that about? I'm going to ask the three guys that know everything.
Oh, yeah.
And they weren't available. So
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't get that. But if there is this other feeling of maybe there's something I haven't heard, maybe there is something I haven't learned yet.
Or something God's holding back from me.
Yeah, well, yeah. Or that he hid somewhere.
Or he hid something.
So that only the elite can find it and unlock it. And this is all throughout Christianity.
You know, the whole part of that, every time anybody's brought that to me, and that's been around forever. Mm-hmm. At least the whole time I've been in a Christian, is somebody of, hey, there's this thing. Mm-hmm. It casts aspersions on the character of God.
Yeah.
That God really doesn't want everybody to know.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to really want to find this one clue. Mm-hmm. And apparently nobody has found it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it takes the plain reading that it basically is, you're saying everything that is plain in the scripture is wrong. Mm-hmm. Because what's plain in the scripture is God is for us. He is long-suffering with us. He has gone beyond what anybody could imagine a God in their day or in our day going to for the sake of human beings. Behind that lie is what people think. There is a secret knowledge that God is hidden just for an elite few. That sounds more like humanity than God to me. Mm-hmm. That humans put a code together to hide something so that it shows how smart I was to hide it and how smart you were to find it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think the thing that you're, not the person asking this, but when that's your feeling, this desire within us to unlock new things and to discover new things and to, understand things I didn't understand before, there's not one piece that's missing unless you don't follow Jesus. Jesus is the missing piece. Jesus is your missing piece. But
P-E-A-C-E.
Yeah, there you go, even better. But once you're following...
That's a beam, by the way. You can put that on there.
There you go. Once you're following Jesus, the journey of what we often call long obedience in the same direction, it's not... And I even hear people say this has not been it's not that like, I saw something that was never there before. I saw something I never saw. What it is, and this is just how life works, based on my life experience, based on my experience of walking with Jesus, based on my experience of reading certain parts of the scripture, that then when I read a different part of the scripture, I go, oh, look how those things are connected. I never saw that. Mm-hmm. It's not that there was something hidden I couldn't necessarily see. It's sort of the way Jesus talks about it, of there's this treasure hidden in a field. Mm-hmm. And if you'll just pursue after that and walk after that, there are all kinds of discoveries I find out about God, but they're not necessarily things I didn't know before. What it is I find out, man, he's more gracious than I could even imagine.
Mhm.
He is more patient than I could have even imagined. Or his love, there's a facet to his love that I hadn't seen before because I just wasn't in that position before, or I hadn't gone through that yet.
But it will not contradict what I already
No,
have,
no,
have
no.
had revealed. That's the thing
No.
is, you talk about God is infinite, which means for all eternity, we will be discovering him.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, we will never discover something that contradicts the God revealed in Jesus.
That's
right.
And so that's what that means.
Yeah, and that's what I mean is
That's
that
right.
that journey you want of that I hear that at least I feel, and I feel it some of myself of like, oh, I just want to know something I didn't know before. I want to learn something. That is not found through finding Q or finding some kind of hidden verse that I never. It really is through the journey of long obedience in the same direction. I want to pursue Jesus. I want to pursue loving like him. There is a wisdom that comes out of that as I walk through going, my central goal is I want to love people like Jesus has loved me. I want to love Jesus, and I want to love God with my whole heart, soul, mind, and strength. The things that I learn about myself along the way, the things I learn about him along the way, the things I learn about other people along the way, that is a constant discovery. All the time I am looking at myself, looking at God, looking at the scriptures, looking at my community of believers and going, oh, wow, this is, it's not different than I thought it was. It's more than I thought it was.
Mhm.
Well, I was talking to a friend of mine this morning about, and I want to be careful because this is a word that people just hate, and we hate to act
Is it
like it.
nuance?
No,
That was last week.
it's pride.
Mm.
I hate to admit how much pride has to play in many, 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 many of my actions.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were discussing, the part you're talking about discovering, there is a part that when you first begin, I want to read the scripture and I want to discover something. And the reason I want to discover it is because
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of.
I
Yeah.
discovered it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you
Mhm.
what I discovered
Mhm.
that nobody else did.
Mhm.
And just like, and I'm convinced of this, but it may just be because that has been such a struggle for me and continues in so many ways in my life
Mhm.
to be a struggle.
Mhm.
That love is the highest value, and all the good things that God does in my life, love, joy, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, self-control, all flow out of love. I'm convinced.
Yeah.
Love is the fountainhead.
Mhm.
And as I move toward loving God and obeying his commands, and I move toward loving people, which is one of his commands, all of that other stuff that I need in my life, taking care of anger, learning patience, all of that
Mhm.
stuff flows.
Mhm.
All the bad things in my life, all the bad things in my life, the root of it has been pride.
Mhm.
And when I read a scripture and I go, man, I never saw that before, generally because there's a new circumstance in my life that has revealed a new prideful pocket in my life that I read something in the scripture and it was there the whole time. I was just so proud I couldn't see it.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying I don't know whether this, I read this and go, somebody's read the book and they saw Q, they didn't know what it is. They thought they'd ask us and
Yeah.
we gave them
Yeah,
an
that's
answer.
right.
And the truth is, there are those theories about the Old Testament too.
Oh, yeah.
There's sources about,
yeah.
and so-and-so didn't write this part and so-and-so, there are all of those kind of things. What I'll say to you about the Bible, if you really begin to read it, is there is a remarkable harmony in the Bible, that it is a unified story.
Mhm.
If you will let go of your pride and read the Bible, just read the Bible for what it is. We don't have a perfect Bible,
Uh-oh. Clip that one out.
but we
I
have
love it.
we have the Bible. I'm convinced God intends for us to have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a God and human creation. And if
Yeah.
you just read it
Mm.
that way, there's a unity to it.
Mhm.
that is unexplainable by humanity over the course of time that we knew it took whoever the sources are through
Oh,
those
yeah.
centuries.
Mhm.
They are either the geniuses that created all the universe, or there is a genius who created the universe,
Yeah.
which is what I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I get, if you don't think that, I think there is a genius who created it and is the unifying source behind all of this. And, you know, if you need to call God Q, call him Q. I mean, that's the benefit of going through the 12 steps. God, as you know him, if he's Q to you, okay, go with it.
Mm. All right. So we didn't talk about the Q that everybody talks about on the internet,
No.
but we hopefully.
Well, he's
answered
way
that.
sketchier than what we
Ooh,
just
man,
described.
he's just
He
crazy.
can't be, or she, or
Whatever.
it, or the master
Whatever.
computer, or AI, or whatever it is.
Boy. Anyway, so I've been holding on to this the entire podcast, and
go.
I want to make a statement that Ed's not going to enjoy me making.
Oh, I'm
But
ready.
earlier, you heard him refer to, you know, Jesus is the missing piece, P-E-A-C-E. I just want to point out that's a pun.
It was a pun.
It's a pun.
It was a pun.
And Mr. I hate puns, and I'm always against puns. He made one,
I
and
did.
it's on tape.
And he quit quickly.
He
was
did
like
it. It
on
just
top.
flowed out of
It
him.
flowed out. He was ready.
And
for
I
it.
quickly then made fun of it.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
That's all they're good for.
That is all they're
And
good.
you're being made fun of right now.
I got it. I believe it.
So
I
just
did
want-
make a pun. You're right.
You did. And
I
I wanted
did.
to
It
just
was-
point that out.
And like
that.
all people who make puns, look how clever I was.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
No. All right. I just had to do that. That's fun. I've been hearing him diss on puns for
You're-
years.
The whole time you've known me.
Our whole time. So next week, we got a serious question.
Very
Uh-oh.
serious.
They're all serious.
No, they're not.
No. But this one is going to be real serious. Y'all tune in, and we'll answer it. See you next week.